You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders because it seems that they are finally getting that pissy, stained smell of Josh McDaniels out of their house after they have washed the walls and burned the sheets and everything else from that dumpster fire of a coaching hire from 2 years ago that Mark Davis made, and the Raiders showed up big last night. Antonio Pierce, he promised one thing. This team was going to run the ball. This team was going to be good at running the ball. And it's very clear that the one thing they've got is they've got a couple of playmakers on this team. Look, this Raiders offense could eventually round into being really good. Now, you've got a rookie quarterback, all right? And if you're a rookie quarterback not named C.J. Stroud, and that's a video for another day because, holy shit, I'm not sure any of us. I certainly didn't see that coming, and that kid is unbelievable, but that's a video for a different time. You got Aidan O'Connell in there. We don't know how he's going to mature as we go along in the season, but things have certainly improved. You're 2-0 without Josh McDaniels, and as you can see right down here, Josh Jacobs, Antonio Pierce promised they were going to be able to stop the run, and they were going to run the ball, and you see the leading rusher for the Jets is Zach Wilson. You know what's going to happen with Zach Wilson? I've got to be honest with you, because when you get him from the 0 to the 20, Zach Wilson seems like he can play quarterback. When he gets inside the red zone, it turns into a nightmare. And I'm starting to wonder, and this is really a side note, he's got to end up going somewhere, and he's liable to turn into Alex Smith or Geno Smith, because there's something there with Zach. I just don't know what it is yet. I really don't. And I think he needs an offensive guru, but he made some big throws last night. He also made a bad one. He did. But, look, Robert Spillane jumped that route and made a big play. He made a big play. And the one thing this Raiders team is doing is they're having fun. It's showing up. Josh Jacobs, 27 carries, 116. Davante Adams, 6 for 86 yards. So they made a point. They wanted to get the ball into the hands of their playmakers. Now, I want to check Jacoby. That's my only other thing, though. You got to be able to get that ball distributed to Hunter Renfrow. You got to make sure that with the rise of Aidan O'Connell, you don't diminish the great. Look, Jacoby Myers was having a very good season, and he was getting the ball, and he was balling out. You got to make sure, because the last couple of weeks, he has started taking a step back. So I would be aware of that. I would want to make sure he still got the ball. But there was some real reaction from the Raiders and their players, because it's clear they're having fun. They wanted to have fun. They wanted things to have a different vibe and be more positive. Here's Davante Adams. Ari Mevrov is a good follow on the X. That's at My Sports Update, so always try to go over and follow him.
Sometimes it's fun. And in the Raiders locker room, it's time to dance.
That's Davante Adams, and he is having fun dancing around after another victory. And this is what was said. Robert Spillane intercepted a pass. We got a couple of articles. They're both from SI. Robert Spillane intercepted a pass in the final say. Raiders survived 2 long passes by quarterback Zach Wilson in the final seconds. The Silver and Black won a come-from-behind 16-12 victory over the New York Jets on Sunday Night Football at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Quote, I had fun again when I got in the locker room. I got to tell you, even the coaches are taking shots at Josh McDaniels and that culture that Josh McDaniels had instituted in that locker room. I had fun again when I got in the locker room. The coaches were miserable. It's weird. Now, look, the coaches tend to be grinders, And a lot of them walk around, the good ones, act like they're miserable all the time. But Pierce is clear. He's not wanting that kind of environment. Quote, when I was out there on the grass, that was stressful, as well it should be. The Raiders are 5-5, improved their home record to 4-1 by scoring 13 straight points after being behind 9-3 late in the second, as rookie quarterback Aidan O'Connell threw a 7-yarder to rookie tight end Michael Mayer with 14:10 left for the only touchdown of the game and a 16-9 lead. Quote, many, many more to come, hopefully. Mayer said of his first touchdown catch as a pro, it's really a special thing to be out there for my teammates, do that for my coaches. This organization's been through a lot the past couple of weeks. Yeah, I mean, there's some real fire here. Quote, I didn't want to be the reason we lost. Josh Jacobs had that very scary, what looked like it was going to be a game-altering fumble. And look, the Raiders held there. And I think that's really a big deal. That's a big deal. That's a lot of adversity all of a sudden. Because with the one thing that's evident with both of these teams, the Jets and the Raiders, and neither one of them has been good for a while, is you have things like that happen, and you just roll your eyes. You're like, oh, God, here we go with the Jets. Here we go with the Raiders. And the Raiders withstood that, okay? Now, some of that you could say is a byproduct of the fact that they had Zach Wilson as quarterback, but still, you persevered, you pulled through, you won the game. Now, playoffs, okay? Playoffs, you do own the tiebreaker now. As you can see right here, the Jets, even though the Chargers lost yesterday, the Jets fell 2 spaces now behind the Raiders. And I believe as we look here, and I've got it pulled up, here is the schedule. The Colts are on here, folks. The Chargers are on here, all right? And, of course, there's the Broncos. In fact, let's just look and see, because I can't believe we even have to talk about the Broncos right now. The Broncos are 14th. So we're talking about a bunch of teams in that 4-5, 5-5, 5-4 range. The problem is these two teams up here that are 8-9. One of these two teams are going to end up getting in, I would guess. Okay? Either the Bengals, although Houston now owns a tiebreaker over Cincy, or the Bills. Why? Because they both have badass superstar quarterbacks. And that's just all there is to it. Generally, when you've got badass quarterbacks, the cream's going to rise to the top. And it would not surprise me if something happens, the Bills end up winning the AFC East. Maybe not. Maybe not. And then, of course, in the West, you got the Chiefs. You're not catching the Chiefs. But if I look at this schedule for the Raiders, the problem is we don't know what the Vikings are now. Are the Vikings good? They've won 5 straight games. Whatever Joshua Dobbs is, it's clear he's borderline a starter in the National Football League, at least a journeyman kind of starter, some kind of starter. The Vikings have found in Joshua Dobbs, and I think that flashed, of course, in Arizona. We talked about Josh Dobbs earlier this year. You got the Vikings. Are you going to be able to score enough points? Because they're scoring points now. The Chargers, that's the other thing. Are you going to be able to score enough points? All right? Because the end of this season is, how's the culture in the locker room going without Josh McDaniels? Do you get development out of a potentially promising starting rookie quarterback? Okay? Because you got to find that out before you get to the draft. All right? Because even if you don't get one of the top 2 guys, you've got Michael Penix Jr., you got J.J. McCarthy, you got Bo Nix that are going to be the next 3 that all could be in that 5 to 20 range, 5 to 25 range in the NFL draft. You've got to figure out what you've got there, okay? And judging on how these teams are, you've got, when I look at potential wins or losses, Well, you got the Chiefs at home, okay? The Chiefs' offense is not clicking on all cylinders. Yeah, they scored some points, but there's been some real games they have not showed up, all right? Not as the Chiefs as we know it. But you got 1, Chargers, Colts, 2, 3 clear-cut, potentially winnable games. That gives you 8 wins, which means you've got 9 losses. I don't think that is going to get it done to get into the AFC playoffs. I don't. But I don't know that that fully matters either. Okay? I don't know that that fully matters. If this team turns around from the start it had, if the culture changes inside the locker room, if the guys are fired up and the guys are happy and the guys are playing hard and they're hustling and they've got the identity of Antonio Pierce, who was a hard-nosed SOB when he played for the Giants and the Skins back in the day. And he was a hard-nosed SOB. He was. And, of course, he's got the Compton crit. All of this, all right, if that team embraces him, is willing to play hard for him, the X's and O's stuff remains stable, because scoring 16 points, it's not good in the NFL. It's not. But you got a rookie quarterback, all right? You got a rookie quarterback that we found out Josh McDaniels didn't even want to put drafted the guy, didn't even want to put a game plan for him together to try to help him succeed in that first start. And, of course, he looked terrible. He said, no, we're going to go with the same game plan we would have had with Brian Hoyer or with Jimmy Garoppolo, even though they had been in that system for years in New England. It's absurd. Whatever it was Josh McDaniels was doing. Is Josh McDaniels the COVID-19 of NFL coaches? Is that where we're at? Where he just comes in and he just destroys the immune system of every team he's involved with? I mean, I'm keeping it real. The Wuhan virus of NFL coaches. I keeping it real. Somebody will pick that up and run with it somewhere. Oh, he called him. It is what it is, dude. You suck. All right? It is what it is. Tell me what you think. Do the Raiders make a playoff run? I think this season, the rest of this season, gives Raiders fans hope. Your excitement is going to come from what is Aidan O'Connell, what is Antonio Pierce, and the fact that you've got your drawers cleaned. Your drawers are officially clean of Josh McDaniels and his poop stains that he left on the franchise. Yeah, we're getting creative this morning. Peace, I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.